Hey, first grade. It is time for our last day of this unit in social studies. Our target says, I can identify landforms, natural resources, and human characteristics. Let's go ahead and review our landforms that we've been learning about or that we learned about last week. Oh, the first one is a mountain. Here is a picture of a mountain. I know it's a mountain because I can see it is raised land. That means it's taller land than this other land around it, and it comes mostly to a point. I can see there's lots of like points up here, and I notice it looks like there's snow on the mountains. Even though there's not snow down here, there is snow on the mountains. And that's because the mountains are that raised land that's really, really tall. So it's so much colder. Normally, a mountain can have snow on the top. We also learned about a hill. I can see that a hill is also raised land. It's higher than this other land around it, but it's not as tall as this mountain was. And instead of coming to a point, it's more round on top. Okay, I can see it's more rounded on top, and normally they're very grassy. The other type of raised land we learned about is a plateau. Wow, look at this land down here is pretty low, and then all of a sudden it is so much taller. But what is different about the plateau? That's right, it's completely flat on top. I can see, well, not 100% flat on top, but compared to that mountain or that hill, that looks pretty flat. And I notice it looks like it's in a desert. I remember most of the time when I see a plateau, it's going to be in the desert. I have a huge plateau here. Here's a little plateau. It's raised land and flat on the top. These are plateaus. Ooh, we also learned about a valley. I remember a valley is this low land right here in between two hills or two mountains, and it normally has a river or a stream running through it. So on the sides here, I have probably some mountains because I can see some mountains in the background. I know they're mountains. They came to a point and they're very, very tall. So this low land in between is a valley. It's that low part in between mountains or hills. We also learned about a plane. A plane, not like an airplane. That's right, not like an airplane. A plain is that large area of flat land. I can see, look at how flat this is. Look, far, far away in the distance, it looks like there's a hill, but this is all flat and it's mostly grassy. Normally, a plain would be where I would find farms, and that's where a lot of our crops and things grow. So this is a plain, and we remember that most of Texas is made of plains. Ooh, the last one, my slime's favorite, is an island. Look, this is land that has water on all of its sides. Most of the time, you're going to find an island with the ocean, that body of water surrounding it. However, you can also find islands in really big rivers or some lakes. I know this is an island because it is completely surrounded by water. There's water on all of its sides. Well, now let's go ahead and take a look at some natural and human characteristics of a place. Here is a picture, and we've been learning a natural characteristic or natural resource is something that we don't make. It just occurs naturally in nature on its own. But a human characteristic or a man-made resource is something somebody had to make. So let's look at this picture. Oh, I see houses. That is not a natural characteristic. That is definitely a human characteristic. Somebody had to make that. Oh, I wonder what natural resources did they have to use? Well, you probably needed rocks so you could have like bricks and rocks. You probably also needed to use trees to have wood. Yeah, those are some natural resources to use to make these houses. Oh, but you know what? I see some trees. So here is a house, a human characteristic of a place, but it's right next to natural resources. Oh my goodness, I also see it looks like a pond, or maybe it's part of a lake. That is definitely a natural resource. We didn't make that. It's just occurring on its own. I see some bushes. That's a natural resource. It looks like it's kind of windy there. I also remember that the wind is a natural resource. Let's look at another picture. Ooh, this looks like a big city, and there's some cars. Ooh, is that natural or human characteristic? Yeah, that's a human characteristic of a place or a man-made resource because cars don't just occur naturally. We had to make them. They're not just automatically there. What other man-made things do I see? Oh yeah, I see some houses. Oh, some people. What are these things? You know what? Those are solar panels. Do you know what those are? Yeah, a little bit. Well, the solar panel is taking in energy from the sun because the sun is a natural resource. And this man made resource of a solar panel is going to take the energy from the sun and we're going to use it now as energy and electricity. So we're taking the natural resource of the sun and we're turning it into something else. So we're using that natural resource and now it is a man-made resource in the form of electricity. I also see some windmills that's doing the same thing with our natural resource of the wind. And now we're turning it into electricity or power. And now that is the man-made resource, right? When it's just on its own, it's the natural resource. But when it's something that we make or we create, it becomes man-made or human characteristic. I see some trees. Those are definitely natural. Maybe this is an ocean back there, or maybe Miss Lime, that's part of the sky. But now we can see if we make it, it's human or man-made. But if it just occurs naturally, it's a natural characteristic. Here is what your test is going to look like on Seesaw. On the first page, you have pictures of the different landforms. Your job is to choose a writing tool and draw a line from the word to the correct landform. Let's go ahead and look at one together. Raised land and it comes to a point. It's a mountain. So I would need to draw a line from the picture mountain down to the word mountain. You're gonna have to do the rest on your own. On the second page, you need to think of a natural resource. You can pick any natural resource that you want. Draw a picture of it, make sure you label it. And then on this side, how do we use that? So if you drew an animal, you would have to show, well, how do we use that animal? You have to do this 2 times. So think of 2 natural resources, draw them and label them, and then draw and label, how do we use that? The last one at the bottom, you have 3 pictures. You need to use green to circle it if it is a natural resource. You need to use red to put a red X on it if it is a human or a man-made resource. Make sure you push the green check mark when you're all done.